My name is Donald Bouchard. I was born near the Gaspé Peninsula in the province of Quebec. Although I was born the son of a preacher, my childhood was not what you would call perfect. My story begins in my crib, where I was tormented by evil spirits. My mother was a brave prayer warrior for my soul.
In the name of Jesus, be gone!
Her prayers made the darkness vanish, and so would my terror, but in time, my torment would return. I never knew peace. My mother ended up raising her 3 children on her own. Overly protected, playing was limited to our tiny apartment balcony.
You cannot go outside with the other kids. It's unsafe.
As I grew older, I'd do anything for a rush, no matter what the risk.
You're a freak, kid!
Relax, I'm only 40 feet up. My mother tried to protect me by dressing me and cutting my hair in a very conservative way. This made me a target for bullies.
Nice haircut, Bouchard. Did your mom use a bowl?
She dresses you really weird, too.
In revenge, I retaliated. Knowing that I was always drawn to the wrong gang, my mom would move us to another neighborhood and find a new school. But trouble would always follow.
Mrs. Bouchard, this is his 3rd offense just this week.
Do whatever you have to do.
My behavior did not change.
Donald!
I did it to gain acceptance. My school principal and teachers blamed my mom, telling her she was too strict.
Mrs. Bouchard, we've tried it all. He just refuses to listen.
Take whatever measures you have to.
Now my mom was at her breaking point.
How many times? How many schools? How many house moves? We just moved here.
No, this time I'll leave. At the age of 15, I left home.
Donald, whatever you do, don't abandon God.
She'll never see me again. I moved many miles from home. This is where my life began to spiral out of control. I was 15 and my cousins liked to smoke up and pop acid. I thought, I'm not doing that because my mom had drilled it into my head. She'd say, if you take drugs, I'll run out into traffic or jump off a building.
That's not how it works.
You've been doing drugs for years, dude. Look, we're cool, right? Here, take some.
I remember my first joint. I didn't feel anything. I thought I was tough, so I smoked and smoked. Then it kicked in.
Donnie, you've been washing that dish for the last 5 minutes.
Finally, he's stoned.
Smoking wasn't enough. I started taking hard drugs that sent me soaring from 0 to extreme high. Problem was, when I came off my high, I didn't come back down to 0. I went into the minuses. I was trying to fill a void and a deep emptiness. I was losing control of my life. Street people came to my hotel room for a fix and to share their troubles. I got my thrills by committing crimes. One time, we robbed the wrong nightclub. The streets swarmed with cops. To disguise ourselves, my partner and I wrapped tablecloths around our heads and slipped away. Canine units were dispatched to track us down. Dogs screeched from every direction. They had me cornered in an old garage with the meanest dogs I'd ever seen.
Either you come out or the dogs come in!
In prison, my partner beat up another inmate. I was thrown into a tank with hardcores. My God, I don't belong here. Outside the courtroom, the club owner waited to identify who was arrested. I was as good as dead. Then, I got a break.
Do you see him?
He doesn't know who he's dealing with.
Are you pleading guilty?
Yeah,
Then go home. I'll represent you in court.
sweet, he won't get to identify me. Despite my close calls, I kept pushing hard. I had uncut coke and needed buyers. I was introduced to Kim, who had contacts.
You should meet Delroy.
Turned out, Delroy was a pimp with lots of dough. In time, we'd become partners.
This is Donnie. He's got the best coke in town.
Dell freebased hundreds of dollars a day.
Where'd you get this?
I've got a supplier.
From now on, you work for me.
As it turned out, Dell had a real talent for turning women into hookers. When he saw my girlfriend Casey, he freaked.
Donnie, make some money. Turn Casey.
Kim had started working for me, and I didn't want Casey involved. Don't even think about it.
Donnie, if you don't, I'll make her work for me.
I didn't want Casey to hook, but to my surprise, she volunteered. I think she was jealous of Kim working for me.
If Kim's working for you, I want to also.
You are not going to work for me.
Yes, I will.
Okay, but don't ever accuse me of putting you out there. Dell thought I was an amazing pimp because no one had been able to turn Kim, no matter how hard they tried.
I don't know how you did it, but you're fantastic, Donnie.
What Casey didn't know was that Kim wanted out. She was so grossed out with turning tricks, she was sick to her stomach.
Please, Dale. I can't do this anymore.
Dell went totally ballistic. He put a piece to Kim's head.
You're going to work for Donnie.
Help!
There's no getting out.
Neighbors offered refuge.
You're finished.
Hide in here.
We've called the police.
I didn't know Dell had flipped out on Kim. Then I got the call.
This is the police. Come out of your room with your hands behind your head.
I stepped out of my hotel room to an adrenaline-pumped SWAT team.
Get down on your face! Get down on your face!
Dell was hiding somewhere in the hotel. The chief of police was furious.
Where's Delroy?
Delroy? I don't know anybody named Delroy.
You're lying to me.
I lied to save my hide. I was hard up for a place to sleep. A prostitute gave me this room. The chief had me handcuffed. As they took me through the hotel lobby, I passed Kim. I saw the dread on her face. She feared the consequences. The cops couldn't hold me on anything, so I was released. I found Dell and smuggled him out of the hotel. At the hideout, he introduced me to a Colombian girl he had manipulated. She was a junkie. The warrant on you has brought a lot of heat, Dell.
Donnie, we're taking the girls out of town to make big money.
This town had bigger problems. A turf war was going on. Casey was assaulted and threatened. Cops were on my back daily, and I was thrown out of almost every hotel. One night after dropping Casey off on the street, the taxi driver looked at me in his rearview mirror. What he said really hit home.
Hey, boy. The way you live is the way to destruction.
Yeah, I know that.
I tell you what, boy. I was in the LA Mafia. My wife was a prostitute. I drank 26 ounces every night. One day, Jesus Christ got a hold of my life. I run a little church just down the road. I want you to come there tonight. Give your life to the Lord.
I've got to block this guy. Even if I could go to church, I can't get saved there. I come from a good home. My mom's a praying woman. If I want to get saved, that's where I've got to go.
You're right. Even if you come to my church, you can't get saved there.
I thought I had blocked him for good, but he, being a real disciple, he used true love.
I tell you what, boy. I'll drive you to the airport right now. I'll pay for your airfare. Go home and make things right.
I didn't take his offer, but he left me with a strong conviction. I needed a drink, but I couldn't.
What are you having?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I often thought about calling home, something I did only once a year for fear that she would talk to me about the Lord and getting saved.
Donald, Jesus loves you, no matter what.
I know, Mom, I know. Can't she talk about anything else? One day at the hotel, an evil spirit took hold of me. I crumbled to the ground in total agony and fear. I lost complete control and felt driven to pluck out my eyes. In utter darkness and despair, I remembered my mother's prayers. I simply whispered, God, please, take this spirit away from me. I promise I will give you my life someday. Instantly, it was as if I was taken from a deep freeze, where I was shaking to death and put into a warm, cozy room filled with the most intense love and peace. It felt as if I could physically touch it. It was totally unreal. I was so shaken by it, I started talking to junkies about it. Hey man, I'm telling you, God is real and he can change us.
Donnie's bad tripping.
My crime life continued. To clear a debt, I did a collection. I hired some muscle and found the mark in a bar. I'm here to collect.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Take him outside. My guys pushed him into the back alley and up against a concrete wall. They nearly killed him. I had reached my pinnacle. I was ruthless and arrogant. Since my childhood, heaven was like a steel ceiling that I could not penetrate. But after committing this crime, heaven suddenly unfolded. Now, for the first time, I felt God's eyes following me wherever I went. And it bothered me, big time. My lifestyle was very risky. I knew my days were numbered. My back was against the wall. I was challenged physically and spiritually. I felt my mom's prayers had finally reached me. I caught a train to Montreal. I can't believe I'm doing this. Hours after getting off the train, I hit the town like a thug for my last drinking binge. Deep down, I felt God calling me to my mom's church.
Leave this cafe!
I went directly to my mom's church. My mom was afraid to accept me, but the preacher saw a spark of hope. To my great surprise, she took me into her home. I was a chain smoker, so she made me smoke outside. One day on my way outside, she said something that made me flip out.
Every time you go outside, it's like you're meeting with the devil.
Although what she said angered me, I knew I still wanted her God. When I inhaled, I got numb from head to toe and was very nauseated. I dumped my smokes in the garbage, something I'd never done before. At this point, I knew God was dealing with me. Mom, something weird just happened. It's like I've never smoked. That night, they had a church service. God spoke to my heart. I spent a lot of time on my knees praying. Lord, all the other people here are being saved. Why not me? I prayed for a month and nothing was happening. I had felt anger, lust, and fear. Why couldn't I feel God? Lord, if I don't walk out of here a new man, I'll walk out a dead man. When I was leaving, the preacher came to greet me.
God bless you, Donald.
Will you pray for me? I'm trying to quit smoking. As she laid her hand on my head, the power of God hit me. I fell to my knees and wept like a baby. I was truly repenting for all the evil I had committed. All I can remember saying is, God, do whatever you want with my life. As I got up, the most beautiful love and peace filled my heart. I knew it was there to stay. It was as if 150 pounds had rolled off my back. I hugged everyone around me with this overwhelming love. I knew I'd never be the same again. On the way home, I sang gospel songs, trying to remember the words. Even the world looked so different. As I lay in bed that night, I felt like I was floating. It was so different from those nights of hell, where I was tortured and tormented. This peace was beyond understanding. I lay there in awe. It happened! Unbelievable! Ah! The next afternoon, I went to a church meeting. I felt my heart pounding as I got up to tell them how God had filled me with such joy when I got saved. The place erupted into cheers and applause. I felt so much support. After Jesus saved me, I had it in my heart to make restitution to every person I had harmed and defrauded. I'd like to pay for the damages I did to your house.
No, that's okay. Just to see you saved and in your right mind is good enough for me.
It was the most freeing experience of my life. People were amazed by my transformation and forgave me. I wasn't expecting this.
Is that you, Donnie? I can't believe it. I'm going to faint.
You're a changed man.
Jesus Christ had blessed me above my expectations with a beautiful wife, 3 wonderful children, and a successful business. Life is beautiful.